Want to talk some more about breaking news this hour regarding the teenager killed in a crash involving an American driver. Harry Dunn, who was 19, died when his motorbike collided with a car outside an RAF base in Northamptonshire in August. We're now joined by the family's lawyer, Mr. Rad Seeger, who's in Washington. Mr. Seeger, thank you for taking the time to speak to us. We've had a statement, I think, from you, but perhaps you could just clear up what is going to happen with you and Miss Sakoulas, who was involved in this incident, over the next few days.
Yeah, sure. Good evening. So I've just arrived in Washington a few hours ago, and shortly after I arrived, I had a message to say that a legal representative had been appointed for Mrs. Sakoulas, the driver, and was trying to reach out to me, but I'd been on a plane, and so yeah, I called her back as soon as I could, and we've had a very brief conversation, and pleased to say that we've agreed that we will try to meet together, just she and I, at the earliest possible opportunity, hopefully sometime this coming week, but depending on getting diaries together.
So that was her lawyer reaching out to you rather than a request from your side?
Oh, correct. As you probably gathered, we've issued many appeals over the last couple of weeks for either Mrs. Sakoulas or the United States government to come and talk to us, and we heard nothing. So yes, as a couple of hours after I landed, I got a message to say that Mrs. Sakoulas or her lawyer was trying to get a hold of me. Yeah, so and I called her back as soon as I could, and yeah, we'll try and get together sometime this week.
Is that meeting going to be just between yourself and her representatives? Is there a chance that the family could meet either her legal representative or indeed her at any point on this trip?
Well, I think again, it was only a couple of minutes of discussion. I think what we agreed was that she and I would get together first, and that would be common in those circumstances for the representatives of each side to get together, and then maybe scope out what might happen. As you probably know by now, Harry's parents are flying out to New York tomorrow. So we're all physically together on the same continent for a couple of days. I know diaries are jam-packed with various commitments, and I dare say Mrs. Sakoulas' lawyer is very busy as well. I think it's unlikely that we will be able to get both sides together, but in all likelihood, I'll meet with Mrs. Sakoulas' lawyer first, and then we will scope out a further meeting, and we'll see where we go. And it's a great sign to us that they've reached out to us, and we will engage and embrace in those discussions as openly and positively as we always do.
How did have you mentioned this fact? I presume you have, to Harry's parents, Charlotte Charles and Tim Dunn. How have they reacted to this?
Yeah, again, they're sort of 5 hours ahead, so again, I only had a brief conversation just to let them know of the development, and as always, they're good people, and they see any new development as a positive step forward, and this undoubtedly is a positive step forward. I know the lawyer appointed by Mrs. Sakoulas. She's one of the foremost lawyers not only in Washington but in the country, and so I see it as a very positive step, and I'm sure that the discussions will move forward positively and amicably. And you always start these journeys, you never know where they're going to end up, but let's hope that we can achieve a resolution to this terrible tragedy sooner rather than later.
Yeah, indeed. I just wonder, for people just joining us and who may not have heard your previous statement, if you wouldn't mind if I said what you told us and the media before you left for the US. You said the US government has claimed that Mrs. Sakoulas has the benefit of diplomatic immunity and has refused to grant the waiver sought by the British government. And then you asked for anyone on either side of the Atlantic who has any information regarding her return to the US before, during or after her departure to please come forward. Does this meeting with her lawyer change that request that you made in that statement at all, or are you and the family still seeking those things on this trip?
Most definitely. So we figured out pretty early on that Mrs. Tsoukalos herself, she made a terrible mistake that night, and you know it is what it is. We can't turn the clock back. But we're not more concerned, but we're also concerned at the actions of the United States government and the British government, and what role they both played in the Americans claiming that she had the benefit of diplomatic immunity.
Would you disagree? Do you disagree with that assessment?
Well, we are crystal clear, and I'll repeat, we are crystal clear that she does not have the benefit of diplomatic immunity. There's no doubt in our mind.